for this review, I've made some cookies. These are half chocolate chips, half chocolate with white chocolate, and this is what I'm going to eat for my reading this week. Hey everybody, welcome back. So today I'm doing a book review for the Ashe and Sand trilogy by Richard Nell. Okay, so I've seen a couple of reviews of the first book, but I actually have finished the whole trilogy, so I thought I'd just do a review of the whole trilogy. It's a really great trilogy. I liked it a lot. It is dark, I'll admit that. There's some horrible things that happened, and you know, like when one of your main characters is a cannibal, you can guess what happens. So the three books in this trilogy are, number one was The Kings of Paradise. And this one is actually available on Prime Reading. If anybody has Amazon Prime, you get those free books, or the books that you can borrow and read, and you can borrow it on Amazon Prime. A second one is Kings of Ashe, and the third one is Kings of Heaven. And if you have Kindle Unlimited, they're all available on Kindle Unlimited. And I read these on Kindle Unlimited. Earlier this year, I tried Kindle Unlimited for a few months because there was a special on it. And so I read all of these three books when I had the special going on. So this series, and I'm going to do kind of a spoiler-free section, and then I'll probably put some spoilers in at the end, and I'll leave a timestamp to let you know like when the spoilers begin. This series has basically two main characters. There's a lot more characters, but these are like the two main ones that you follow. We have Ruka, the son of Bela. This character is basically, he's born deformed. He's kind of a giant. Nobody in his town likes him. He's shunned, and they keep telling him that his parents were cursed to have him. So he is forced to live on the outskirts of the town with his mother, and then the townspeople kind of kill his mother and take away everything he cares about. And now he's very vengeful. He's hates everyone. Obviously, he kills them and eats them. You also kind of find out that he's a little bit different, and the first book doesn't go a lot into it, but he has what he calls his grove, and the people that he kills, he sees them in his grove. They seem to be haunting him. In the first book, you kind of think you know that he's that he's causing chaos, and he's going to be, I guess you could say, like the villain. So our second character is Kale, and he is the fourth son of a king, and has really no prospects, and you know, not like he's going to get the kingdom, he's not really going to get anything. But there's this girl that is living at their house who's like a ward of his father's, and he falls in love with her. And he doesn't think there should be any problem with it because it's been very, very clear that this girl is not important. So he goes to his father and says, hey, I'd like to marry this girl. His father says, no, that I'm in charge of her and I'll decide when and who she marries, and it won't be you. And in order to get him away from the girl, he sends him off to this university. And the girl's got this wedding date. Kel has to make it back before this wedding date in his own mind. So he goes to this university, or this place of learning, and completes they have a bunch of tasks that they want him to complete to see what kind of person that he is. And all of his family's been through it. And he's decided like he has to do it faster than everyone else. So he ends up going through this university. Things happen that indicate that he is kind of special too. There's this room where he's supposed to copy all of these runes down, and I guess he leaves his body to go to where the runes are. Because there's like two different rooms. There's the room where they're all written, and then there's the room where they have to write them, and they're supposed to write them perfectly. So he kind of leaves his body, goes to the other room, and copies them. So he didn't memorize them like he was supposed to. So he feels like he cheated. So he goes home. Things don't go as planned. He ends up being exiled. And in the end, something happens which brings our two characters against each other. So now there's going to be some revenge going on. There's also one of the characters is kind of oblivious to what's going on. The other one is out for revenge. And in the second book, they have their final showdown. And then the third book is what happens after the final showdown. Because, after the second book, I'm like, okay, so they had their showdown, which did not go as I expected. I mean, you may as well flip a coin to decide who's going to win, because you'll probably be more accurate than guessing. And then, I kind of thought, well, now what? What's going to happen after that? But there were a lot of repercussions because of the showdown, which made things much harder when you get to the third book. So the first book was really good. The second book, you get into these two characters. They're each special. They have these magical abilities, and you really, really get into it that Ruka's grove is a little bit more than what it seems, and he can make something in there and like pull it out into the real world. So he'll make like a sword or armor, and it's infused with runes, so it's like this magical armor, magical swords. Kel, I guess the way he describes it is he pulls the strings of creation, or the strings that tie things together, and he can pull on them and control the weather and do a lot of different things. And then, like, after they have their showdown in the third book, obviously there's somebody coming, there's an army coming to destroy them. And so it's a siege. It's quite gruesome. There's a lot of killing, a lot of blood everywhere. I have to say that the characters did not turn out to be who I thought they were. They did not follow kind of the clearly defined script as we know in good versus evil. And I would say like they definitely, the characters definitely have layers. They're not just like all good or all bad, or doing everything right or doing everything wrong. There's a lot of, they make mistakes, they struggle and all that kind of stuff. So a little bit of the spoilers. So basically, the girl that Kale wants to marry is betrothed to his oldest brother. She's going to be the queen, and that's why he gets kicked out. When he comes back, he makes it back before the wedding, and of course, him and the girl who are in love do what people do when they're in love. Father finds out, threatens to make him a eunuch, which, I guess in some world is like, this is supposed to be grimdark. He would probably have done that. Kel is sent away again. He later finds out that the girl marries his brother. Kel later finds out that his brother is gay, and she has a son that's his. At the end of book 1, Ruka goes to Kel's family and castle and destroys the whole castle. Well, what Kel believes is that he destroyed the whole castle and killed all of his family. So now Kel is out for revenge against her. And Ruka, he did capture the castle. But in the second book, you find out that Ruka and the things that he knows, like the castle, which is on this beautiful island, and where Ruka wants to go. And this castle that they have it was his ancestors, and his ancestors were kicked out. Or the islands were once their home. So he was trying to recapture his homeland. And he knows that there's this war coming. And he's trying to protect his people by bringing them to this island, or these islands, and making the islands stronger so that all of them can survive this war. And obviously Kel knows none of this. He just believes that Ruka has destroyed his family. So he comes after him. And Kel brings down the wrath of the weather, and kills a lot of people, and is enacting his revenge. And Ruka comes, and they battle it out, and thought Kel was going to win, and Ruka won. But then Kel shows up in his grove because it was somebody that Ruka had killed. Now in the third book, again, kind of thought, well, so now it's going to be the showdown. Now the war's going to happen. And even that didn't go as I thought it would. There was so many twists and turns, and as soon as you thought you figured it out, there's another twist. At the end of book 3, when the battle's over, and it appears that they've won, and Ruka is now going to be in charge and have what he and that his people are safe. And so they come to the island, and a god just kind of randomly decides he doesn't want them there. And so there's one more battle, and one more thing for Ruka to do before his people are safe. And I guess I kind of expected it because there were several hundred pages left in the series, in the book. Or there was over 100 pages left, so I thought there has to be something else that's going to happen. So overall, this was a really great trilogy. I enjoyed it a lot. I like the characters. Ruka, he's not a nice person. He has a lot of flaws. Like I said, he likes to eat people. Kind of decides that he's not going to eat people anymore. But it was awesome. So I highly recommend that you pick this series up. I put new videos out on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. So now I'm going to go ahead and have a cookie.